But today I'm here to talk directly to parents. And yes, schools are ready for their children to burst through those doors with eager anticipation of another school year. And what a difference a year makes from where we were announcing our back to school strategy. I was brand new on the job, but I also knew we had kids going back to school within a matter of days, and so we had to ramp up our efforts immediately. And we had a lot of rules last year. You know, we had social distancing, we had quarantine after exposure, we had test to stay. So there's a lot of rules that parents and teachers and administrators had to be familiar with, and it was confusing, very frustrating, stressful. The unknown, fear of the unknown, because this was the first fall when our expectation was that everybody went back to school. And so, because parents, I'm a parent, now a grandparent, we know our primary responsibility is to protect the health of our children. I want parents to know, as governor, I share in that responsibility. It is my responsibility to do everything I can to protect your families as well. So I'm grateful that this year we have a different scenario, different landscape, so to speak, and we're expected to be a much, much easier year for parents and for schools. You heard last week that the CDC issued guidance. We've been analyzing the guidance, and they relaxed their guidance with respect to K through 12 schools and early childhood education programs. Here in New York, we want to be fully aligned with the CDC, but we wanted to take a little bit of time to process what that actually meant before we release data. And later today, the Department of Health and the State Education Department will be releasing a letter to schools to reinforce our support for the CDC guidance and to have frequently asked questions, so they will be apprised of everything we expect for this fall. So that information is coming out later today. But the big news is no more quarantining, no more test to stay, and the days of sending an entire classroom home because one person was symptomatic or test positive, those days are over. We've been through that experiment. No longer are we going to be sending kids home, keeping them away from that essential experience of being together in a classroom, because we are now still dealing with the fallout of those decisions made when we had less information and there was concern in classrooms. But we now have 2 years of experience to know that children are safe in classrooms, and when they're not in a classroom and the learning stops, the traditional learning stops, it can be devastating for the well-being of those children. We're seeing it in the mental health challenges we're facing now, suicide rates, depression, real mental health issues that were not there before for many of these children, and that is deeply troubling to us. So we're aligning ourselves with the CDC, we're getting this information out to parents and to schools, and making sure that our children are where they need to be this fall.